Hey folks, welcome back to another video. Join me on a beautiful day here in North Wales, at crag called Fowler down by the seaside, as you'll notice behind me. Sport climbing crag, absolutely brilliant actually. It's a lovely spot here. I was here on Thursday and it was grey, it was cold, it was windy, so a lot of the shots you'll see do not look quite the same as what they look now. It was a nice day's climbing, but it was hard work. The crag was covered in like the salty sea spray and stuff like that, so everything needed brushing. I didn't tick anything of interest, and neither have I today here. That's a standard sport climbing day for me. I fall off a lot, I belay people falling off a lot, and that's why I like assisted braking device, belay devices. I like the extra peace of mind you get, and I like the fact that when I'm a belayer, I'm going to hold on to the brake strand, of course I am, but I can, hold on and manage it, but not like work really hard to hold on like you would have to with an ATC. The device will do the work as much as possible, because belaying is just one of those things, I want it to be as easy as possible. I put a post on my social media things a few days ago about asking people what they didn't like about assisted braking devices. And there's two things that came out tops really. One, people saying it encourages like bad belaying, which it might do. And the other was like paying out slack. When you're paying out slack quickly, a lot of assisted braking devices, they jam up, don't they? I'm a GriGri user and I can give out slack super quick on it because I've spent thousands of hours belaying on one. When you're new to it, you short rope people. It's like as simple as that, isn't it? Petzl have released the new Petzl NEOX. Now, unfortunately, Petzl didn't send me to Margalef to do a video like those two wads you've just seen, but it's pretty good here. Petzl did send me this to test, right? I've had it for a few weeks. I'm not getting paid for the video. If I do a good video, that's great, or a positive video, great. If I do a negative video, they might not send me any stuff. It doesn't really matter because I get most of my stuff from outside who support the channel anyway. So I'd like to think it's a pretty unbiased video, okay? The two questions you've probably got though are, one, isn't it just a GriGri? Because it looks very much like a GriGri. And two, is it any good? Well, it's really good. Sorry for the bad pun, stolen off Megos or the Petzl team, can't remember who. That's what makes it different to a GriGri. It is not a GriGri. Yes, it's very similar to one. It's an assisted braking device that looks very similar to a GriGri, but it is different.
It looks like a GriGri, but it works very differently.
And is it any good? Yes, it is really good. There'll be some times when it's not quite the device you might expect it to be, but I'll come on to that in a minute. It's going to retail at around about £110. That's more than a GriGri. A GriGri is around about £90 retail, normally pick them up a bit less. It's heavier than a GriGri. It's 235 grams compared to 175 grams on a GriGri. That's the regular GriGri. For me, those are the only two negatives, and they're not big negatives, right? It's just the price and the weight. Everything else is good. Does it encourage bad belaying like any other assisted braking device? I do have a slight bugbear with this, that I completely see people's point of view, but equally I just think it's not the device.
How do you think NEOX knows whether to give slack or block the rope? NEOX has no brain. It is the belayer who has a brain, usually.
It's not the device's fault. Like I said, I do get the point of view, but belay properly on any device. That's my message to you. I'm sure all you people watching do. No matter how many people you see crushing hard sport routes in the sun in Spain or wherever with their belayer letting go the brake strand, ignore them. Just don't let it be you.
When you have a friend's life on the line, random results are unacceptable.
Ooh, I don't want to fall to the ground.
Yeah, that's why I never let go of the brake side of the rope, so you can just relax and climb.
Germans being relaxed. It's not gonna happen.
The next thing, paying out slack. Well, this wheel transforms how easy it is to pay out slack. It spins, it spins, it spins, okay? So there's so little friction there that you can push slack through really quickly, and you actually give it slightly differently to a GriGri. When you're giving slack quick with a GriGri, finger under the bar, thumb on top like that and use your spare hand to hoof the rope through. That's not quite how you do it with this thing, because I find counterintuitively when you do that, the wheel starts to get into its stopped position and make it harder. You just feed it through like you would with an ATC. Good belaying is more than feeding slack through. It's being attentive, it's moving back and forward.
We should also remember that giving slack is not just pulling rope through the device. It also means moving towards the rack at the right moment and repositioning yourself.
This doesn't mean you can forget all that. You still got to use it properly, but if you do it properly, it's really hard to short rope someone. It really is. So I think if you give this device to a relative beginner, they will pick up smooth belaying quicker with this than most other devices actually, but definitely with the GriGri. So I do think it's a big improvement in that front. The way it works is you're belaying, the wheel spins, reducing friction. When your mate falls off, the wheel goes up, you can see it, I'm having to push quite hard, I've got tired fingers, but you know, it lifts up into that position and it hits these little stops internally, so the wheel will stop spinning, and then it just works like a regular GriGri really, that the cam bit pushes up and the rope gets pinched in there. So you of course hold on to that brake strand, but the device is doing the work really. You're there to hold on, but the device is doing the gripping, okay? When you come to lower, yeah, rope over the roll bar bit there, pull that back, hold on and feed it through. Same as a GriGri, isn't it? If your mate's carrying on climbing, you just, they pull on, it goes slack, everything clicks back into place and you just carry on belaying as normal. It's a really smooth affair in that sense. I've used it on quite a wide range of ropes, from like low 9s to high 9s, and it's been really good on all those ropes actually. The first rope I used it on was like a 9.5 brand new mammoth rope, and it went through so slick because it was like shiny and new. Lowering was a little bit trickier just because it was so new, and I tried it with a GriGri and it was equally quite tricky on the GriGri, but then immediately tried a friend's rope. It was similar thickness but more used, and it was just, yeah, it was as you'd expect, a much nicer affair. Okay, I do tend to wear gloves when I'm belaying anyway, partly for that reason. But it seems to work well. It says it works well from 8.5 to 11 millimeters. I don't know anyone that climbs on anything close to 11 these days. But I found it super smooth to give out slack, so it's an absolute win on that front. When it comes to lowering, you grab the handle, and this is the thing that some people asked about, whether it's good for left-handers, because the handle's on the wrong side for a left-hander. Because you're not thumbing it like that, I feel it's better for left-handers, because actually you can belay left-handed quite easily on this, but you are still going to have to grab that with the right hand, so it might feel a little bit awkward in that sense. I think it's an improvement on the GriGri for left-handers. It's still not, might not still be quite perfect though. I think Petzl have videos on how to do that with the GriGri, and it's going to be very similar on this. Okay. So for indoor climbing and single pitch climbing, like here at Vedavau and any other crag, obviously, brilliant, absolute win. Better than a GriGri, I think better than any other assisted braking device. I will often use a belay device, an assisted braking device, for belaying from above, in a work sense especially. Climb up, bring my second up with a GriGri, like in guide mode style. I asked Petzl whether that's okay, because with a GriGri they say yes, it's okay, but it's not ideal. Basically, you've got to be careful where the handle is and stuff, but they say it's okay to use. My reply from Petzl was they've had a look at the paperwork with it and stuff and said, yeah, it's even less ideal than with a GriGri, but they didn't say no. I've used it a little bit like that. Because of the less friction, it locks up less readily, so I think it's less ideal than a GriGri. On the website, it does have little symbols for what the devices are for, and with the GriGri, it shows belaying a leader, it shows belaying from above as well, like a second. With this NEOX, it doesn't have that belaying a second bit, okay, so I would suggest it's probably not ideal for that. It's also not ideal for, sometimes I'll be coaching alongside people, and I'll use this as a progress capture device really. Less ideal for that, because where you're hoofing it through, it's not locking as quickly as a GriGri would. I don't actually use a GriGri, I use a rig, because it's like the proper device for that job really. It's like an industrial style thing. So I wouldn't use it for that. I wouldn't use it for top rope soloing either. Whilst it goes through super smooth, it's not going to lock as quickly and properly.
Warning, if you do not hold the brake side of the rope can slip through the device. Blocking is unreliable.
Clearly these are all a little bit improvised, so it's slightly grey areas anyway. And there's other videos out on these kind of things, but I wouldn't use it for working a route in that sense. Is it any good for lead rope soloing? People keep banging on about that on Reddit and other places. I do not lead rope solo. This device will not be certified for that. Will the rope run through smoothly? Yeah, I bet it will. Will it lock up consistently enough and stuff? I just don't know. You can chuck a question in the comments below, maybe someone else will answer it, and I'm sure someone like maybe How Not to Highland will do a video on it perhaps, but it's just not my area of expertise, so I'm going to defer judgment on that one. So I know some people will be disappointed by that answer, but that's just the way it is. So I think this is a brilliant device for its slightly more niche uses. With the wheel locking up, pulling up into that position, it's not like a Wild Country Revo that has to meet a certain speed. It seems to be to do with the pressure of it. I don't like the Revo. I'm not into bad-mouthing companies and devices and stuff because different people prefer different things, but the Revo isn't for me. I don't like it. It doesn't lock up when your mate's working a route and stuff, whereas this does, GriGri style, but it's just a very different device, okay? It's all steel in here, and when that wheel spins and gets lifted up into that cammed position, there's steel stops in there, and that's how it works before turning into a GriGri, like I said, basically. The rest of it's aluminium on the outside, so will that wear? Yeah, of course it will. Will I keep using this? Yeah, as long as Petzl will let me keep hold of it. I would take it to the gym, the climbing wall, for sure. I would use it at crag like this, single pitching, yes, for sure. Would I use it for work, belaying from above? No, I'm going to use other stuff. Would I take it multi-pitch sport climbing? No, I'll probably still use a GriGri. So should every GriGri user rush out and get one of these? Depends what you want from it. Your GriGri is a great device, right? I've used most belay devices out there. The Revo, the ClickUp, the Smart, the new Edward Pinch that I'll be doing a video on soon. I really like this device. It's not a one-size-fits-all device, but if you want something that is smooth to pay out slack quickly and is a nice thing to use, it feels like a good bit of kit, I'd really recommend checking it out. I'm a fan. I'm going to keep using it in those slightly, not niche, but in those particular environments, I'm going to keep using it. If you've got questions, chuck them in the comments below. Happy to answer as best I can. And I say that every time, and I get back to comments eventually. It just takes me a while sometimes. If you liked the video, click the like button, smash the subscribe button, follow us on Insta, follow us on Facebook, use the Buy Me a Coffee link to support their channel. Visit Outside to buy one of these if you fancy trying one. They're really good, really good. But as always, massive thanks for watching. More videos coming up very soon.